My name is Emma Carter, and for 22 years, I believed I knew the man sleeping beside me. We built a home, raised 2 children, celebrated anniversaries, and made promises I thought neither of us would ever break. I never imagined that everything I believed about my marriage would unravel because of a single text message. It happened on a rainy Thursday evening. My husband had just come home from work and gone upstairs to shower. His phone buzzed on the coffee table. Normally, I would have ignored it. But something, call it instinct, call it fate, made me glance at the screen. The message read, "I can't wait until tomorrow. I already miss waking up beside you." In that moment, my world stopped. I expected tears. I expected anger. Instead, I made one decision that changed all of our lives forever. I unlocked his phone, read the truth he'd been hiding for over a year, and then I sent a message pretending to be him. 9 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Standing on my front porch was the woman my husband had been secretly loving. She smiled as she held a bottle of expensive wine, until she realized I wasn't supposed to be home. What happened next was something none of us saw coming. The moment I unlocked Ryan's phone, I was still hoping I'd misunderstood. Maybe it was a joke between coworkers. Maybe someone had sent the message to the wrong number. Maybe there was an explanation that would make everything feel normal again. There wasn't. His password was still our anniversary. The date we'd stood in front of our families, holding hands, and promising to choose each other for the rest of our lives. The irony wasn't lost on me. My hands trembled as I opened the conversation. The first few messages were harmless enough. Inside jokes, good morning texts, compliments. But the farther I scrolled, the harder it became to breathe. "I miss you already. I wish I could fall asleep next to you tonight. I hate pretending we're just friends." Then came the photos, pictures of dinners I thought had been business meetings. Hotel rooms from conferences he said were mandatory. Selfies of the 2 of them smiling at places he told me he'd visited alone. It wasn't just an affair. It was another relationship. A relationship that had been quietly growing. While I was helping our daughter study for exams, cheering at our son's soccer games, and wondering why my husband always seemed so tired. I checked the dates. 1 year, 3 months, 17 days. For over a year, he'd been living 2 completely different lives. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I wanted to run upstairs and demand an explanation. I wanted to scream loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Instead, I just sat there. The washing machine beeped from the laundry room, letting me know another load was finished. Somewhere upstairs, I could hear the shower still running. The world hadn't stopped, only mine had. I kept scrolling. Even though every message felt like another knife twisting a little deeper. She asked him if he felt guilty. He replied, "Sometimes. But my marriage has been over for years. I'm only staying until the kids are older." I read that sentence 3 times. Over for years? When exactly had it ended? Was it when we celebrated our 20th anniversary and danced in the kitchen after everyone else had gone home? Was it when I sat beside his hospital bed after his surgery, refusing to leave even for a night's sleep? Or was it when he kissed me goodbye every morning and told me he loved me before walking out the front door? Apparently, our marriage had ended, without anyone bothering to tell me. A tear finally slipped down my face, not because he'd found someone else, but because he'd rewritten our entire life together to justify it. Every sacrifice, every memory, every promise, reduced to a lie. I wiped my face. Before another tear could fall, crying could wait. Right now, I needed to think. That's when I noticed their plans for the next day. She wrote, "I can't wait until tomorrow. I already miss waking up beside you." He replied, "Soon, just a little longer." A few minutes later, she added another message. "What time should I come over?" I stared at the screen. Ryan was still upstairs. The shower was still running. He had no idea I was holding the truth in my hands. Before fear could talk me out of it, I tapped the message box. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I wasn't thinking about revenge. I wasn't trying to humiliate anyone. I just wanted the lies to stop. So I typed 4 simple words. "Come over, she's gone." I read the message once, then I pressed send. The little bubble disappeared. There was no taking it back. For a second, I wondered if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Then I locked the phone, placed it carefully back on the coffee table exactly where Ryan had left it, and folded another towel as if nothing had happened. A minute passed, then another. Upstairs, the shower turned off. I could hear Ryan moving around our bedroom, completely unaware that the life he built on secrets was about to collide with the truth. My heart pounded so hard I was sure he'd hear it the moment he came downstairs. Then the phone buzzed again. 1 new message. "I'm on my way." I didn't pick it up this time. I didn't need to. I simply looked toward the front door and waited. 9 minutes later, the doorbell rang. For a moment, no one moved. Ryan stood frozen on the bottom step, one hand gripping the banister so tightly his knuckles had turned white. The color drained gleamed from his face as his eyes darted between me and the woman standing in our living room. Emma, he whispered. I looked at him calmly. Is this the business meeting you were running late for? He opened his mouth but no words came out. The woman looked from him to me, her confusion growing by the second. Ryan, she said quietly, what's going on? He rubbed a hand over his face. This isn't how I wanted you to find out. I couldn't help but let out a small, bitter laugh. You weren't planning for either of us to find out. Silence settled over the room. The only sound was the rain tapping against the windows. Finally, I turned to the woman. My name is Emma. She swallowed hard. I'm Lauren. How long have you known my husband, Lauren? She looked at Ryan, hoping he'd answer for her. He didn't. A little over a year, she admitted. I nodded slowly. Did you know he was married? Her face tightened. He told me. She paused, struggling to find the words. He told me the marriage was over. He said you were living separate lives under the same roof until the children finished school. I closed my eyes for a second. Of course he did. Ryan stepped forward. Emma, please, let me explain. I raised my hand. No, you've had over a year to explain. Tonight, it's my turn to ask the questions. He stopped where he was. I looked him straight in the eyes. When did you decide our marriage was over? He stared at the floor. It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like. Another long silence. Finally, he spoke. I felt lonely. I blinked. Lonely? You were always busy with the kids, with work, with the house. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So while I was taking care of our family, you decided someone else should enjoy the parts of life you no longer appreciated. He didn't answer. Lauren's expression changed. She turned toward Ryan. You told me she didn't love you anymore. He looked trapped. You said she hadn't touched you in years. He remained silent. Her voice cracked. You said you were sleeping in separate bedrooms. I quietly replied. Our bedroom is upstairs. We still share it every night. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. She looked at me with genuine shock. I'm so sorry. I believed her, not because she was innocent, but because the pain on her face looked painfully familiar. She had been lied to, just in a different way. She slowly set the unopened bottle of wine on the coffee table. I never wanted to destroy a family, she whispered. I thought there wasn't one left. Ryan finally spoke again. I never meant for anyone to get hurt. I looked at him for a long moment, then I asked the one question that had been burning inside me since I read that first message. Did you ever love me while this was happening? His eyes filled with tears. I did. The answer hurt more than if he'd simply said no, because loving someone while choosing to betray them every single day wasn't love I recognized anymore. I took a slow breath. I'm not going to scream. Neither of them spoke. I'm not going to throw things. Still silence. And I'm not going to spend the rest of my life wondering why I wasn't enough. Ryan stepped toward me. Emma, please, we can fix this. I shook my head. No, Ryan, you had hundreds of chances to fix this before tonight. I reached into the drawer beside the hallway table and pulled out a folder. He frowned. What is that? Our mortgage papers. I placed them on the table. Tomorrow morning, I'll be calling a lawyer. His face fell. You're serious? I've never been more serious. Lauren picked up her purse. I should go. I looked at her. Yes, you should. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Before walking out the door, she turned back to me. I truly am sorry. After she left, the house became unbearably quiet. Ryan stood there, searching for words that no longer mattered. I picked up my wedding ring, slowly slid it off my finger, and placed it beside the bottle of wine she had brought. I spent 22 years believing trust was the strongest foundation of a marriage, I said softly. Tonight, I learned the strongest foundation is truth, and once that's gone, everything else eventually collapses. Without another word, I walked upstairs, closed the bedroom door behind me, and for the first time in over 2 decades, I knew exactly what my future had to be. The next morning, I woke up after barely 2 hours of sleep. For the first time in 22 years, the silence in our home felt different. It wasn't peaceful. It was the sound of a life changing. Ryan stood there, searching for words that no longer mattered. I picked up my wedding ring, slowly slid it off my finger, and placed it beside the bottle of wine she had brought. I spent 22 years believing trust was the strongest foundation of a marriage, I said softly. Tonight, I learned the strongest foundation is truth, and once that's gone, everything else eventually collapses. Without another word, I walked upstairs, closed the bedroom door behind me, and for the first time in over 2 decades, I knew exactly what my future had to be. The next morning, I woke up after barely 2 hours of sleep. For the first time in 22 years, the silence in our home felt different. It wasn't peaceful. It was the sound of a life changing. Ryan had spent the night in the guest room. Neither of us said much over breakfast. There was nothing left to argue about. Some betrayals don't end with shouting. They end with acceptance. After the children left for school, I made the hardest phone call of my life. I called a divorce attorney, not because I hated Ryan, but because I finally loved myself enough to stop accepting less than honesty. The months months that followed weren't easy. There were meetings with lawyers, stacks of paperwork, difficult conversations with our children, and countless moments when I questioned whether I was doing the right thing. Our son was angry, our daughter was heartbroken. They asked questions no parent ever wants to answer. I never spoke badly about their father. I simply told them the truth. Sometimes people make choices that break trust, and without trust, a marriage can't survive. Over time, they came to understand. Ryan apologized more times than I can remember. He wrote letters. He asked for another chance. He promised counseling, honesty, and change. Maybe he meant every word. Maybe he truly regretted what he'd done, but regret doesn't erase betrayal, and apologies don't rebuild a foundation that's been crumbling for over a year. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. The day I signed the final papers, I expected to feel victorious. Instead, I felt peaceful. There was no celebration. No dramatic sense of revenge, just the quiet realization that I had survived something I once believed would destroy me. A year has passed since that rainy Thursday. I still live in the same house, although it feels different now. The walls haven't changed. The memories have. I repainted the bedroom. I planted flowers in the garden. I took the vacation I'd been postponing for years because someone always had to stay behind for work. Little by little, I stopped rebuilding a marriage and started rebuilding myself. People sometimes ask if I hate Ryan. The answer surprises them. I don't. Hate would mean he's still controlling part of my life. I've chosen something far more valuable. I've chosen peace. As for Lauren, we never became friends, but a few months after everything happened, she sent me a short letter. She told me she'd ended all contact with Ryan the night she walked out of my house. She apologized again and said that discovering the truth had forced her to face her own mistakes. I wished her well. Holding on to resentment would only have kept me tied to a chapter one was trying to close. Looking back now, I realized that the text message wasn't the worst thing that happened to me. It was the moment that opened my eyes. Sometimes life has a strange way of revealing the truth when we're finally ready to see it. If I could speak to the woman I was before that rainy Thursday, I'd tell her this: pay attention to your instincts. Don't ignore the quiet voice that tells you something isn't right, and never mistake comfort for happiness. Most importantly, never measure your worth by someone else's ability to see it, because another person's betrayal is not proof that you weren't enough. It's proof that they failed to value what they already had. That rainy evening didn't mark the end of my life. It marked the beginning of a new one. A life built not on promises, but on truth, not on fear, but on courage, not on pretending everything was fine, but on finally choosing myself. And if you're listening to my story while carrying the weight of your own heartbreak, I hope you remember this: the strongest people aren't the ones who never get broken. They're the ones who gather every broken piece, rebuild with honesty, and refuse to let someone else's choices define the rest of their story. Sometimes losing the life you planned is the first step toward finding the life you truly deserve. And looking back now, I don't remember that rainy Thursday as the day my marriage ended. I remember it as the day I finally found myself.